When Alex first arrived at the interspecies dormitory, he felt like an intruder in a world that wasn't made for him. The walls glowed with soft blue light. The doors hummed when they opened, and every corner was filled with sounds he didn't recognize. There were voices that clicked instead of spoke, laughter that echoed in tones too sharp for his ears, and footsteps that didn't always match the rhythm of human walking. For weeks, Alex had felt like the odd one out. He was human, surrounded by beings from a dozen different stars. Some had feathers, some had shells, and some floated instead of walking. Yet despite the differences, life moved on. Everyone was here to learn, to live together, to prove that peace was possible. His roommate Cora was one of the few who made him feel at ease. Cora belonged to a species known as the Veyari. His tall body shimmered under the light, his silver skin catching every reflection. He had 4 eyes that blinked at different times, something Alex had first found unsettling but soon grew used to. Cora wasn't just polite, he was kind. He always made space for Alex, asked about his meals, and even tried human snacks, even if the flavors were far too strong for him. Alex thought that was the extent of his interspecies experience. Sharing a room, exchanging small stories, laughing at their cultural mistakes. But one evening, Cora introduced him to someone new. Her name was Lyra. She stepped into their room with curiosity written all over her. Her skin carried a faint glow, not as reflective as Cora's, but soft and warm like moonlight. Her eyes were large, unblinking, and filled with questions before she even opened her mouth. She carried a glowing tablet under one arm, ready to record everything she saw. "This is my friend Lyra," Cora said, his voice calm as always. "She has interest in your kind." Lyra leaned closer than Alex was comfortable with, studying his face as if it were a puzzle. "So this is human," she said in a quiet, steady tone. "You look softer than I expected." Alex frowned, not sure how to respond. Thanks?" Cora chuckled, the sound like wind brushing through chimes. "Do not be alarmed. Lyra means no harm." Alex forced a small smile. He was used to being stared at by aliens in the hallways, but this was different. Lyra wasn't just looking. She was searching, trying to read him like a book. That night, after Lyra left, Cora sat beside Alex. His silver eyes blinked slowly, one pair at a time. "She has petitioned the council," Cora explained. "She wishes to learn about humans in a way no records can teach. She wants to understand not only what you are, but who you are." Alex tilted his head. "And what does that have to do with me?" "You have been chosen," Cora said simply. "She asked for you." Alex's heart skipped. "Chosen for what?" Cora's tone was calm, but his eyes were serious. "To show her what it means to be human. To live not as numbers in a report, but as yourself." Alex leaned back on his bed, his mind spinning. He wasn't a teacher, he wasn't a scientist, and he wasn't even sure what it meant to be human most days. He was just Alex, a young man far from home trying to survive in a dorm full of beings who didn't breathe the same air or dream the same dreams. Why him? He stared at the ceiling, the soft blue lights painting shadows across the room. He felt the weight of it settling in his chest. This wasn't just curiosity, it was responsibility. Someone wanted to learn about humanity, and somehow out of billions of humans he had been chosen to show them. It was terrifying. It was impossible, and yet beneath the fear, a spark of something else flickered. Pride. Maybe. Just maybe, he could do it. The next morning, Lyra arrived at Alex and Cora's room, moving quietly but with sharp, observant eyes. Her glowing tablet hovered beside her, recording every detail, though she didn't speak at first. Alex felt the weight of her stare, as if every movement he made was under scrutiny. "Good morning," Alex said cautiously, trying to sound casual. His voice trembled slightly, betraying the nerves he felt inside. Lyra tilted her head. "I observe. Humans greet each other with words, yet you also use tone. Interesting." Alex forced a small smile. "Yeah, we talk, we mean it in different ways," he shrugged, trying to appear confident, but inside he wondered how he could possibly explain himself to someone who was so completely alien. Cora, sensing the tension, spoke first. "Start simple. Show her your day. Let her see without interference." Alex swallowed. His day was nothing special. Wake up, shower, eat, attend lectures, try not to trip over alien technology. But it was his. And apparently that mattered. He began by making breakfast, showing her how humans cook. The eggs sizzled in the pan, the aroma filling the room. Lyra leaned closer, her eyes wide. "You change raw materials into sustenance. With heat. Fascinating." And you enjoy it? Alex laughed softly. It's not just for energy. It tastes good. It's part of life. Lyra made a note on her tablet. Alex could see the small sparks in her eyes, the closest thing she had to fascination. Later, they walked through the dormitory's communal areas. Alex showed her human routines, how he exchanged greetings, how he helped others carry packages, even how he jokingly failed at certain exercises in the gym. Lyra recorded it all, but she was silent, absorbing every gesture, every expression. Then came the small, strange moments. Alex laughed at Cora's awkward attempt at a human handshake. Lyra tilted her head, a faint flicker of something like confusion passing over her face. Your laughter. It affects your face, your chest, your breath. It is not simply sound. Why do you do this? Because it feels good, Alex said simply, shrugging. It's human. We laugh even when things are bad, even when we're scared. It makes us lighter. For a moment, Lyra just watched. Alex noticed the subtle movements of her pupils, the almost imperceptible way her body leaned forward. She was learning, maybe more than he realized. By evening, Alex tried to show her emotions in smaller, quieter ways. He told her a story from his childhood, about the time his little sister had fallen into a river and he had jumped in to save her. His voice shook, his hands trembled. Lyra didn't flinch. She just recorded every detail, every word, every shiver that passed through him. You risked yourself to save another, she said finally. Even though your body could have been harmed, why? Alex smiled softly, though his eyes carried the weight of memory. Because that's human. We care, we hurt, we cry. But if someone else is in danger, we don't think about ourselves first. We act. That's what it means to be human. Lyra made another note. She said nothing more, but Alex could feel her processing, trying to understand the paradox she had never encountered. A species that was both fragile and unbreakable, terrified and brave, flawed and beautiful all at once. As night fell, Cora returned from his own activities. Lyra looked up at Alex. You live, you laugh, you suffer, yet you continue. You are resilient. Alex yawned, feeling the exhaustion of the day but also a strange warmth in his chest. Yeah, I guess humans are weird like that. We break, but we keep going. And for the first time, he noticed something in Lyra's expression, a shadow of admiration, perhaps even understanding. Maybe, just maybe, she was beginning to see what humans really were beyond the data, beyond the fragile skin and beating hearts. It was the beginning of something neither of them could fully name yet. Days passed, and Alex began to notice a change in Lyra. At first, she had simply watched him, curious and silent, recording every gesture, every laugh, every small human habit. But now there was a weight in her gaze, a question behind every movement. She was no longer just observing. She was judging, analyzing, wondering why humans did things that seemed illogical. One evening, they walked through the dorm's garden. The air was thick with alien fragrances, glowing flowers swaying in rhythm with the gentle hum of the building. Alex tried to show her something simple, like how humans enjoyed nature, how they paused to feel, to breathe, to simply exist without purpose beyond the moment. Lyra tilted her head, her 4 eyes studying him. Why do you take risks for pleasure? She asked. Her voice was calm, almost cold, but there was curiosity behind it. Why do you climb, jump, swim, or chase something that could injure you? Why not exist safely like other species? Alex stopped walking and looked at her. The question made his chest tighten. He thought of his life back on Earth, the scraped knees from falling as a child, the late nights working to support his family, the illnesses he had endured. Humans were fragile. Life was often unfair, cruel even. Pain was inevitable. Yet despite all that, they still chased experiences that carried no survival advantage. Because life isn't just surviving, he said softly. It's feeling, even if it hurts. Even if we fail, even if we get scared or tired or broken, feeling is what makes life alive. Lyra processed his words silently, tilting her head as her pupils flickered with light. Alex felt the need to explain further, so he shared a memory from home. He spoke of his mother, who worked 2 jobs to keep the family fed, of his little sister who still smiled despite hardship, of friends who risked themselves to protect others. Humans suffer, he admitted, but we choose to care anyway. We choose joy even when it could cost us. That's what makes it worth it. For a moment, Lyra didn't speak. Alex could feel her mind turning, calculating, trying to fit this paradox into her understanding. Humans were illogical to her species. They were fragile yet brave, reckless yet compassionate, scared yet endlessly persistent. It didn't make sense, and yet somehow it did. Later in the dorm room, Alex sat quietly, staring at the small hum of his desk lamp. Cora noticed his silence. "What troubles you?" he asked gently, his four eyes blinking in soft rhythm. I don't know if I can teach her," Alex admitted, his voice low. "Humans aren't perfect. We break, we hurt, we fail all the time. How can I show her something noble when it's messy and painful?" Cora leaned back. "That is exactly why she must see you. Humanity is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is about choosing to rise even when the world is unfair. You are the example she needs, not a flawless human, but a real one." Alex closed his eyes. He wanted to believe Cora, but doubt lingered. Was it really enough to show laughter and courage? Could a species that lived for logic, for precision, understand the beauty and heartbreak in imperfection and simple human stubbornness? That night, as he lay in bed, he thought of Lyra's gaze, the way her eyes followed him, how her body stiffened at certain movements, how she seemed to want to reach out but held back. He realized something. This trial wasn't only about him teaching her. It was also about teaching himself, about understanding that humanity wasn't just what humans did, but why they did it, even when the world told them not to. For the first time, Alex felt the weight of responsibility settle deep in his chest, and yet beneath the fear, beneath the doubt, a quiet determination grew. If humans could endure pain, loss, and fear, and still choose to live fully, then he could endure this too, and maybe, just maybe, he could show Lyra that humans were worth understanding, not just through data, but through heart, courage, and unwavering spirit. The dormitory was quiet that evening. Most aliens had retreated to their quarters, their soft glows fading in the dim halls. Alex was walking back from the library, carrying a few human novels he had smuggled into the interspecies shelves. Lyra followed him silently, her glowing tablet now off, her eyes reflecting curiosity rather than just observation. It had been weeks since she began the trial, and Alex had grown accustomed to her presence. He felt almost protective of her now, not just as a human teaching an alien about humanity, but as someone who had shared laughter, small victories, and even doubts with him. Then it happened. A sudden alarm echoed through the dorm. Red lights flashed. The walls vibrated with a low hum that quickly escalated into a loud grinding noise. Alex's stomach dropped. He knew this sound. It meant the structural system had failed somewhere. "Stay calm." Cora's voice boomed from the other end of the hall. His four eyes glimmered in panic, but he moved fast, directing students away from danger. Alex grabbed Lyra's arm. "We need to get out now." But the corridor shook violently. Metal beams above them groaned, and before Alex could react, a heavy panel collapsed from the ceiling. He shoved Lyra aside instinctively, but his own leg caught the weight. Pain shot through him, sharper than anything he had ever felt. He screamed, the sound raw and human, echoing through the hallways. Lyra froze, horror written across her alien features. She had seen human simulations, human medical reports, even extreme cases of injury, but she had never experienced it. She could see his leg bent unnaturally, the skin torn, the bone beneath almost visible. "Alex," she shouted, her voice breaking for the first time in weeks. She had never raised her voice before, always calm, always observing. Now, fear took over. He gritted his teeth, refusing to let go of her hand, even as pain ripped through him. "I'm fine," he gasped. "Just help me get up." Cora arrived just seconds later, moving with astonishing speed. He lifted the metal panel, his hands glowing as energy surged from his body. Alex crawled out, clutching his leg, sweat and blood mixing on his skin. He looked at Lyra, whose four eyes were wide and trembling. This is what it means," he whispered, every word a struggle. "Humans, we hurt, we break, but we still hold on." Lyra didn't speak. She only held his hand tighter, trembling herself. She had come to study humanity, but now she was feeling it. Raw, unfiltered, painful, and undeniable. The medics arrived, carrying advanced alien medical devices. They lifted him carefully, applying healing energy to close wounds and stabilize his leg. The pain was still there, deep in his bones, but the immediate danger passed. As they moved Alex to the infirmary, Lyra followed without hesitation. Her tablet remained off. There were no recordings, no notes, no questions. Just presence. She watched him, and for the first time, Alex realized she wasn't analyzing anymore. She was experiencing, understanding, sharing in the human struggle. When they reached the infirmary, Cora bent low beside him. "You are stronger than you know," he said gently. "Not just in body, but in spirit," Alex nodded, wincing as he adjusted his leg. The pain was unbearable, but his mind burned with a different kind of fire. He had shown her humanity, not the clean, perfect, safe version, but the messy, raw truth. The part of life that was dangerous, painful, and beautiful all at once, and he could see it in Lyra's eyes. Understanding, respect, awe, something that went beyond data, beyond logic. She was learning, truly learning, what it meant to be human. For the first time, Alex realized this trial wasn't just about teaching her. It was about showing the universe that humanity, in all its fragility and chaos, could endure anything and still shine. Alex woke to a faint hum and soft lights. The infirmary was quiet, the air carrying the faint scent of alien antiseptic. His leg was bandaged and supported, and although the pain throbbed steadily, it was no longer unbearable. He shifted slightly and saw Lyra sitting in the corner, her tablet off, her gaze fixed entirely on him. "Hey," he whispered, his voice hoarse. She didn't move at first. Then slowly, almost shyly, she stepped closer. "You survived," she said. The words sounded simple, but the weight behind them was immense. She had seen him hurt, nearly broken, and yet here he was, alive, breathing, and even smiling despite everything. Alex tried to sit up, wincing as the pain shot through his leg. "Yeah, humans are stubborn," he said with a weak laugh. "We break, but we keep going." Lyra's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, and for the first time, Alex noticed a subtle change in her expression, something like awe, mingled with something softer, almost human itself. I did not cry out for safety," she said slowly. "You held my hand, you endured," Alex swallowed, "because I couldn't let you feel alone. Fear. It's worse when someone is beside you and still scared." His voice faltered as he realized how true it was. Humans fought not just for themselves, they fought for others, even strangers, even those who could never repay them. Lyra knelt beside the bed, hesitant, unsure. I thought humanity was just survival," she admitted. "Logic, resources, efficiency. I did not understand. The bravery and weakness, the choice to continue despite pain." Alex nodded, his eyes softening. "That's the thing about humans. We aren't perfect. We hurt, we fail, we cry, but we choose. We choose hope, joy, love." Even when it hurts. For a long moment, Lyra said nothing. She just studied him, her eyes glowing faintly in the infirmary's light. And slowly, Alex realized that the alien who had once been only curiosity and questions was now learning empathy. She was starting to feel what it meant to be human. "You," Lyra finally whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "You showed me something no data, no record, no observation could teach. You are human, truly." Alex smiled despite the pain. "We're messy. We break, we hurt, but we also laugh, we care, we fight. For each other. That's what it means to be human." Tears gathered in Lyra's eyes, real tears, tiny drops forming at the corners. Alex had never seen an alien cry before. It was beautiful, strange, and somehow miraculous. She had come to study humanity, but now she was experiencing it truly, deeply. Cora entered quietly, observing the scene. "You have both learned much," he said softly. "Alex, you have shown her more than words ever could. Lyra, you have begun to understand not only humans, but empathy itself." Lyra nodded slowly, her glowing eyes dimming slightly as emotion took over logic. I think I understand now. Pain, joy, love. It is not weakness. It is strength." Alex reached out a hand, shaking slightly as he did so. Lyra hesitated, then placed her hand atop his. It was a silent acknowledgement, a bridge forming between species, between human and alien, Rio. Between knowledge and understanding, between heart and mind. For the first time, Alex felt the trial had meaning beyond explanation. It wasn't just about showing humanity to an alien. It was about sharing the human spirit, the stubborn, messy, painful, beautiful spirit that refused to give up, that reached for others, that laughed through tears, that lived fully despite fear. And as he looked at Lyra, sitting beside him and trembling in awe, Alex knew that something had changed, not just for her, but for both of them. Humanity had been witnessed, and somehow, against all odds, it had inspired something greater. Alex smiled, weak but genuine, and whispered, "Welcome to humanity." Lyra's eyes glimmered, and for the first time she smiled, not the analytical, observing smile of an alien, but a real, emotional smile that carried wonder, understanding, and a new respect for the fragile, unstoppable species before her. Days later, the council convened to review the trial. Aliens from across the stars filled the grand chamber, their glowing forms and varied shapes creating a dazzling tapestry of life. Lyra stood at the front, her tablet held tightly, though it remained silent now. This time she was not observing. She was speaking, trying to translate what she had experienced into words her people could understand. Alex sat quietly in the back, his leg healed enough to sit upright. Cora stood beside him, calm as ever, though Alex could sense the pride radiating from him. Lyra began. "I have observed humans," she said, her voice steady but carrying the weight of emotion. "I have studied their bodies, their actions, their survival. I have recorded their diets, their routines, their physical limits. But none of it, prepared me for their hearts." The chamber was silent. Aliens leaned forward, intrigued. Humans were considered unpredictable, even primitive by some. Yet here, one of their own had been studied in a way that went beyond data. "They are fragile," Lyra continued. "Their bodies break easily. They suffer pain that would immobilize other species. They age, they fall ill. They endure injury that could destroy the strongest among us. And yet, they continue. They act not out of logic, not out of duty, but out of choice." Alex felt a lump form in his throat. She was describing him, and the memory of the collapsed corridor, of holding her hand despite agony, of enduring the fire of pain in his leg, came rushing back. They risk themselves for others, even strangers. They laugh in despair. They cry in joy. They hold hands, comfort one another, and offer love even when it is dangerous, even when it hurts. They embrace failure, uncertainty, fear, and still they live fully. Lyra paused, her 4 eyes flickering with emotion. She had come to the council to report, to educate, to give them facts. But facts alone could not capture what she had learned. The council could know anatomy, physiology, diet, strength, but only experience could teach spirit. "And in all this," Lyra said softly, "I realized something that no data, no observation, no formula could teach me. Humans choose to live with meaning. They choose joy. They choose hope. They choose each other. That is their greatest strength. That is humanity." The chamber was still. Some of the older, more logical species shifted uneasily. This was not a report they expected. But the young and curious ones leaned closer, absorbing every word, every tremor in Lyra's voice. Alex exhaled slowly, a warmth spreading through him. She had finally understood. Not just the physical resilience of humans, but the courage, the empathy, the stubborn, unbreakable spirit that defined them. Lyra looked at him directly. "Alex," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "you showed me. You lived, you suffered, and yet you reached out to me. You laughed, you cried, and you endured. You are human, you are extraordinary." Alex smiled, the ache from the memory of his injury blending with pride and relief. "We're messy," he admitted. "We break, we fail, but we keep going. That's all we can do." "No," Lyra corrected, her voice firm but gentle. "It is not just all. It is everything. You have shown me a truth I cannot unlearn. Humanity is worth knowing, worth protecting, and worth admiring." Cora's eyes glimmered in quiet pride. Alex felt a rush of emotion. Gratitude, relief, joy, and something deeper. For once, he wasn't just a human in a galaxy of unknown species. He was a human who had been seen, truly seen, for everything he was, and for everything his species represented. As the council deliberated, Alex realized that the trial was over, not with a medal, not with a score, but with understanding. Lyra had learned, and through her, the universe had glimpsed what humans could be. Fragile, yes, but courageous. Small, yes, but brilliant. Flawed, yes, but capable of greatness that no logic could define. And Alex knew, deep in his chest, that humanity had won, not through weapons, not through technology, not through conquest, but simply by living, by feeling, by choosing to endure and to care. Weeks had passed since the council meeting. The dormitory had returned to its quiet rhythm. glowing corridors filled with students from countless worlds. Yet Alex felt a shift in everything around him. Something had changed, not just in Lyra, but in the way he himself saw humanity. Lyra approached him one evening, her glowing skin dimmer than usual, her four eyes soft and attentive. "Alex," she said quietly, "I have completed my observations. But I'm not the same. I cannot look at humans as I did before. I understand." Alex smiled, leaning against the bed, his legs still slightly stiff but no longer a burden. "Yeah, I hope that's a good kind of understanding," he said, trying to make light of it. "It is," Lyra said, her voice almost trembling. "Before I measured humans by survival, efficiency, and logic. Now I measure you by heart, by courage, by the choices you make when pain could stop you, when fear could hold you back. You inspire me, Alex, you truly do." Alex blinked, caught off guard. "Inspire you?" he repeated softly. "I'm just me. I do what humans do. We break, we cry, we laugh, we survive." "Yes," Lyra whispered, her four eyes glimmering. "But surviving is not enough. You live, and in living you teach. You have shown me that fragility is not weakness, that emotion is not illogic, and that hope can exist even in despair. That is the power of your species." Alex's chest swelled. He felt proud, yes, but also humble. All he had done was be human, but apparently that had been enough. That simple act, laughing, caring, risking himself, enduring pain, had taught an alien about the human spirit in ways no book, no lecture, no recording could. Cora, standing silently nearby, smiled in his quiet way. "You have done more than the council could ever expect," he said. "Lyra has not only learned about humans, she has learned from a human. You have become an example, not by force, but by heart." Alex shook his head. "I didn't feel like an example. I just lived. That's all. Living is enough," Lyra said firmly. "More than enough." That night, the three of them sat in the dorm's observation room, watching the stars stretch endlessly beyond the glass walls. Alex gazed at the familiar constellations of Earth, memories of home filling his chest with warmth and longing. Lyra reached out, touching his hand lightly, an alien gesture that mirrored human comfort. "I will carry this lesson with me," she said softly. "Through my people, through the council, through the stars. Humanity, your kind, has a spirit that cannot be measured or controlled. It must be witnessed, respected, and honored. You have shown me that, and I will not forget." Alex's eyes glistened. He wanted to tell her that humans often forget themselves, that they stumble, that they fail, but he realized it didn't matter. She had seen the truth, the essential core of humanity, and that was enough. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for listening, for understanding." Lyra nodded, her glowing eyes reflecting the stars. "No, thank you. You showed me what no observation, no study, no formula could teach. You reminded me that life, even fragile, broken, or fleeting, is always worth living, always worth feeling, always worth sharing." Alex looked at Cora, then back at Lyra, and for the first time, he felt the universe was not so vast, not so cold. He felt the connection between species, between hearts, and between worlds. Humans were small, fragile, imperfect, but they were alive. And sometimes being alive was the greatest strength of all. As the night deepened and the stars glimmered like distant fires, Alex leaned back, letting himself feel the warmth of recognition, understanding, and hope. He had survived the trial, yes, but he had also shown something far greater. That humanity, in all its messy beauty, could inspire awe, teach courage, and touch hearts, even alien hearts. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, Lyra carried that lesson onward, a testament to the stubborn, unbreakable, radiant spirit of humans. Alex whispered softly to the stars, a quiet HFY truth of his own. "We are fragile. We break, we fall. But we live, and that is everything." The universe for once seemed to pause and listen,